So again, continuing my short video lecture series on other useful websites to you, I covered cleanups in my community. Now we're going to look at the Community-Focused Exposure and Risk Screening tool. So the website for the CFIRST is www.epa.gov/CFIRST. And we're going to scroll down and click View Your Community. And it talks about how you can view your maps, and we're going to click on Get Started and view the map in full screen. As it's uploading, again, this is a tool that you can use to help find information out about the area in which you live. So the first thing we're going to do is type in the address for Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And notice that the map changed immediately. By clicking on Content, I can choose to see what facilities are going to be mapped on the map in front of me. So I clicked on the EPA registered facilities, and as a result, all these different symbols showed up on my map. To see what those symbols mean, I simply click on Legend, and it provides me with a key as to what those facilities mean. There are Integrated Compliance Information System major air emission sites, which are in red, as well as air quality monitoring sites where they monitor the air quality for the emissions from that facility, Superfund sites, major water dischargers that discharge some form of treated liquid into the stream or river, hazardous waste sites that store, treat, dispose, or transport hazardous waste, and then the toxic release inventory sites. So you can click on any of these and a window will pop up with information about it. This is a major permitted water discharge site. It's the New Cumberland Sewer Treatment Plant. The air quality monitoring sites are depicted with the green, and when you click on those, it will provide information about the air quality associated with that location and the monitoring that's going on there. So you can click on any of these to find out additional information. Going back to content, all I had clicked on was EPA registered sites, so I'm going to take that off and say I want to see any emissions. So I click on National Emissions Inventory and I zoomed out to see if anything is in the vicinity of Harrisburg, and it appears that there are, so I can click on them and get information about it, and it looks like these are monitoring a chemical compound known as acetaldehyde, and that 9.76 pounds per year are emitted from this location. I can then click on permitted water discharge sites that have National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permits, and these pink triangles show up on the screen. These triangles represent locations of places that discharge some form of treated wastewater into a receiving surface water body. You can click on any of these triangles and find out additional information about the wastewater treatment process at that facility and what the permit requirements are, as well as what is being released into the surface water bodies. I then clicked on Storette water monitoring sites. These are water monitoring sites established by the U.S. Geological Survey, and they come out and they monitor the water at these locations seasonally throughout the year and have been doing so for many years. So this mapping tool can be used also to show impaired waters, where schools and neighborhoods are located, state and federal boundaries. It can provide demographic data pertaining to population density, people that live in poverty, percent minority. As we scroll down through everything here on the left, it can provide a mapping of cancer risk for a particular area. And there's even specific pollutants that it will map in regards to exposure concentrations, including acrolein, arsenic, benzene, which is a carcinogen, butadiene, chromium, diesel, formaldehyde, lead, naphthalene, polyaromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs. So it can be specific to pollutants that are being monitored, and then you can also have it map any non-attainment areas that are not meeting the national air quality criteria. There's a section here titled EPA Smart Location Database, which you can map various things pertaining to how many people live in an area per acre, how many jobs per acre or jobs per household, what's the land use diversity in the area, how much distance is there to get to the public transit, and so on. So this can actually help you figure out whether or not an area is feasible for you to move to for living there. And then also you can have it plot the Air Now Quality Index, which basically is the prediction on what the air quality is going to be like tomorrow, whether it's a high ozone action day or not, and if there's any potential air quality risks for people that have respiratory ailments. So this is a really helpful website to determine environmental risk within a community. And then here's the website that I started from in regards to viewing the map full screen and doing searches for a variety of data that's available to search for and map. Another website I'd like to introduce you to is called EnviroAtlas, and it's found at enviroatlas.epa.gov. This is an interactive world map, and you can see there's multiple things here that we can plot to show distribution across the United States or within a particular area. So let's see what we can pick to plot here. Let's click on energy potential. And I would like to look at average annual daily potential solar energy in kilowatts per hour per day. And I can minimize this, and this is now showing me what the solar energy potential is across the United States. Now I'd like to plot the wind energy. And it will show the distribution of areas that are best for wind energy. So there's no legend showing up for the map, but I can actually click on specific areas to find out the amount of wind energy in kilowatts per square meter per day that's available in those zones or regions. Let's try something else to map. Let's look at impaired waters. So I clicked on impaired waters and nothing is showing up. So my best guess is that I'm at too far out of the scale. So I'm going to zoom in, and you'll notice quite a few red lines showing up on the maps. These depict locations of streams or rivers that are considered to be impaired. And if I wanted to, I could click on them and it would give information about what's going on with that particular stream, the length of the stream that's considered impaired, and then I can even get more detail about why it's considered to be impaired. So that's impaired waters. I could even scroll down here and click on show me streams that are impaired by nutrients. And it looks like there's a watershed here that's been highlighted that's considered to be impaired by nutrients. So we'll take that layer off and stop plotting it, and maybe we'll look at streams that are impaired by pesticides. Let's see if there's anything that shows up for Harrisburg. But outside of Harrisburg, there's definitely ones that are being depicted as being impaired by pesticides. So sometimes you have to zoom in and zoom out for this map in order for the tools to be depicted in a mapping standpoint. And you can see all these various items that you can plot regarding water use, weather and climate, species at risk or protected lands, and various pollutant ones. So it's pretty helpful. Let's also look at water use. There's different categories for water use that we could plot. I'm going to click on agricultural water use in millions of gallons per day. And you can see there's a distribution of water use in regards to millions of gallons per day. And this map estimates the millions of gallons of water per day for agricultural irrigation in the various watersheds. And if we wanted to find out more about agricultural irrigation, we could simply click on Fact Sheet, and it would give us information about the national use of water for agricultural irrigation. So I'm going to turn that layer off and say, why don't you show me domestic water use in millions of gallons of water per day, and it'll show you a distribution of public water supply, basically. And again, you can dig into the details of the data set by clicking on various areas of the map. And let's look at industrial water use in millions of gallons of water per day. Again, it gives you a new distribution of that. So we can also look at water supply with the map. There's also data on this website pertaining to species that are considered at risk and a priority. And it has several categories associated with it. Some pertain to bird species, some pertain to vertebrate species, and some pertain to at-risk terrestrial or land species. So I'm going to plot the total at-risk terrestrial species, and it gives us a coloration across the United States, and if I click in any particular area, it will then tell me what number of species are at risk. So in this region there are 4 species at risk. And let's see what happens if I zoom to that area. And it's highlighting it for me specifically. And in this area it's 5 species. So this is a region in Montana where it has various species that are at risk. And notice that the detail gets to be better as you zoom in on a smaller area. So this is the EnviroAtlas map. I'm going to show you one more website titled My Environment, which is on this tab, and I can simply type in my zip code, and it will give me information about what's going on with the air quality index in my area, as well as what's going on with the water quality assessments, what's going on with energy usage, what are the risks associated with toxic air pollutants in the area that I live, and it breaks it down into what the different risks are. And it also talks about issues pertaining to my climate. There's information about National Priority List or Superfund sites, and then they give more information about specific locations nearby. So it's a pretty cool website, and what we can do here is click on the map and say, I would like you to plot any air pollution or toxic releases into the air near the place that I live, and it just plotted those. And again, you can always click on these dots and it will give you information about what's going on with those facilities. So I'm going to click off the air ones and say, okay, I want to see what's going on with water dischargers and people that are putting stuff into the water that are considered toxic. And these little pluses mean that there's multiple facilities at the location, and then you can click on each individual facility to find out what their permit requirements are and whether or not they're in compliance. So there's air and water information. And then on the land side of things, we can say, show me any emergency incidences or Superfund sites and hazardous waste sites and any toxic chemical releases that occurred in the area that I live in. And I'm going to make that smaller, and then it plots all the data. So you can click on the My Health part, and then it'll open up a map and allow you to plot the cancer risk, or you can have it plot the infant mortality rate or the low birth rate. And you can read about the various health issues associated with the area that you live within. And it gives you more details on cancer risk. So it's, again, another website that is a resource to you, provided by the EPA, that helps you understand the data that are available for you to access in terms of understanding hazardous waste cleanup locations in your area, as well as risks of human exposure for releases that are occurring to the air, the land, or the water. So again, all of these are helpful websites for you to be better informed as a citizen about what's going on in your region.